takes place in Woodsboro once again. We are going back to Woodsboro as well. And Sidney Prescott, like almost every other Scream movie, is contacted by a ghost face and is telling her, like, you're gonna die tonight, and all the other things. Except this time, a familiar face is accompanied by this voice. Stu from the first movie has reappeared, and Sidney doesn't know if this is actually the real Stu or like some imposter killer of some sort. And so everybody like throughout Woodsboro is concerned about, you know, killings that are happening once again. We are also introduced to Sidney's family, which has kind of been talked about since Scream 4, I think, as well.
Around,
Definitely,
yeah.
definitely 5. I remember 5 they brought it up, but 4 I think they were introduced as well, just off camera. You know, it was just mentioned because she was on her book tour. We're finally introduced to Sydney's family. Her husband, played by Joel McHale, is the sheriff of the town, and her daughter, played by, give me a second, I almost said McKenna Grace, because I went into the movie thinking.
It's Isabel May.
Isabel May, thank you. I went into the movie thinking McKenna Grace was playing her daughter.
I
was
did
like,
too.
I mean, like
I did too.
I'm like, that just makes sense. She's gonna be like the new horror it girl and everything. But no, Isabel May plays Tatum. If you recognize that name, then you've been a fan of the Scream franchise for so long. But other characters return as well, such as Mindy and Chad from Scream 5 and 6, and of course, Courtney Cox returns as Gail Weathers. There's a little other references throughout the movie as well that I will not give away. But like every other Scream movie, this is them trying to basically uncover a whodunit type of situation where a murder happened at a school, as well as another location in this movie that the movie opens up with. And yeah, just like that, it's just another adventure with Sidney Prescott in the town of Woodsboro, figuring out who is this ghost face and trying to unmask that killer.
Isn't it Pine Grove, Indiana, not Woodsboro? Aren't they in Indiana in this one?
Are they? I thought they were in Woodsboro.
I'm pretty sure they're in Indiana.
Okay, my mistake, because
No,
the way this
good.
film opens, I just thought, oh, they're back here now.
Yeah, Pine Grove, Indiana. Pine Grove,
okay.
Indiana, which I think is right near where the Bears will not move to. Anyway.
Okay, I'm glad. Okay, because that already I was like, I'm glad you mentioned it, because I was just like, why the fuck did Sidney move back to Woodsboro? I was just so confused.
It's somewhere near Hammond, near oil refineries. Anyway.
Okay.
Anyway. Scream 7 though. You know what's funny is that this thing, like, I will say this series now I think has effectively been rebooted twice in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Because this is the first. You did a great job introducing the plot. To give some externalities of this thing, this is directed by Kevin Williamson. Kevin Williamson, who also wrote it. He's one of the founding fathers of the Scream series alongside Wes Craven. He was the writer on, I believe, the first 3.
Yeah.
And he's had executive producer credits on the last few, but he hasn't had any input in the writing, and it's kind of showed. The previous 2 directors, known as Radio Silence, were Matt Bettinelli, Olpen, and Tyler Gillett. They opted out following what was really a huge fallout for this movie, because originally, obviously, it was supposed to continue where 6 left off with Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega. Barrera got fired over comments that she made. Ortega left shortly after. Then you had Bettinelli, Olpen, and Gillett leave. And Christopher Landon, I remember, this was so quick, I don't know if people remember this. Christopher Landon from Happy Death Day and Freaky was supposed to direct this movie.
Yeah.
He was supposed to direct this movie. He got hired, and then he quit because he kept getting death threats over Barrera's firing as if he made the call.
Which is a shame, because, like, yeah, he had nothing to do with it. And honestly, I like that director a lot, that I was like, I feel like this is a perfect fit for him.
Oh, I'm too. I would have liked to see what Landon would have done with this. So then who had all the leverage in the world with this thing, were 2 people, were Kevin Williamson and Nev Campbell, and both cashed out on this thing. Williamson got paid, I think, like $500,000 for the script.
Oh, wow.
And Nev Campbell got, basically, name your fucking price. Nev Campbell, I think, made $7 million.
It's so crazy, because you think about the drama behind the scenes with Scream 6, which wasn't as bad as this, like, in terms of drama and everything. But, like, Nev Campbell didn't return due to, like, you know, a payment dispute between her and, like, you know, the Paramount studio, like, not wanting to pay her enough that she thought. And the following movie was just like, here's a blank check.
Oh yeah, they came crying back though because this thing is such a cash cow for them. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? The studio could not let this Paramount.
Live and online, it's Sleepless with Steve and the Movie Book Club with your host, Steve Pulaski.
Oh, jeez. Back and better than ever. I hope you can see me. I know I lagged there a little bit. Sleepless with Steve, live on YouTube. We come to you live and in living color every Wednesday evening, 6:30 Central Time. Good to be with you wherever you may be, and it's good to be back. The three of us reunited once again. Great trio tonight for the Oscar recap show. 98th Academy Awards were held on Sunday.
They happened.
Live on ABC. This award season was way too fucking long. I know we didn't talk about it. We didn't recap the nominations or anything like that. They need to pass a law that the Oscars must air by February 28th. Like dragging this out to the middle of March for movies that came out last year when you announce the nominees in January is way too long. Like part of the reason I think the Oscars viewership has declined is for whatever reason they don't pick they need to. I don't know why they don't pick a set weekend. It's not like always the third Sunday in February. It's different every year, and then you get like fatigue by even nerds like me get fatigued by it and the debating and everything else. You know what I mean? Reminds me of Roger Ebert once said. Roger Ebert said, I love the Oscars. I love the awards. I love the ceremony. But one of my favorite days of the year is the Tuesday after the Oscars, because he said the Tuesday after the Oscars, nobody asked me about the Oscars, and it's on to the movies.
Yeah.
Like Ebert always said that. He's like, Monday, I'm doing all sorts of radio and TV, and everybody's calling me for my takes on what happened. He said, Tuesday, the phone is quiet, and I go to a screening at noon. Like, and it's just like, you could probably see a shit movie and still feel relief if you're him. But at any rate, though, we got a lot to recap, though, because there was a lot of really interesting stuff. We did talk quite a few of these movies on Sleepless, too. We talked quite a few of the Best Picture nominees on Sleepless this year. So there's a lot to get to here. And it's good to have both Joe and Dom back. Joe, I'll start with you. How's it going, my friend?
It's going good. For tonight's show, I decided to upgrade a little bit here. And I'm just going to... you can't see it, but I finally got a mic arm.
Oh, whoa, look at that.
Yeah, now I'm actually... Oh, shit, I'm
There
in
we
the
go.
reds now. I got to actually move that down for OBS. But, yeah, now I can actually sound a lot clearer on my end, where I'm not so soft when you, like, play this back. And then you guys are much louder than me and everything. It's like,
Six
oh, hey.
years later.
6 years later. Hey, better late than never. I was at IKEA. I was at IKEA, and I walked past them, and I'm like, oh, what is this, a Schmorgervision? And I'm like, oh, it's a mic arm for $10. I'm like, I should get this. So I ended up grabbing it when I saw it. But yeah, I'm doing okay.
Now we're gonna hit the big times.
Yeah,
now we're gonna do it.
Yeah, this is where we make our bank now. I gotta make $10 to break even here, so we gotta make this investment work. No, I mean this weekend. I don't think did. I go to the movies this weekend? No, I didn't. Did I? I don't know.
You never gave me your thoughts on Undertone, so I assumed you didn't.
I didn't. No, I was going to go see Undertone. I ended up, unfortunately, getting busy over the weekend. But this week, I have 2 movies on the docket. Project Hail Mary, which we're reviewing, and Ready or Not 2. If I have time, I might go for a matinee show on Tuesday for Undertone, because I still want to see it, because I've actually heard mixed things about it, but the positive things I've heard about it made me go, well, I really want to check that out. So
I'm going to sell you right here. It is a movie that I think is worth going to the theater for, because of the sound design.
Yeah.
I don't know how well it's going to play on television.
I looked at it that way. When I saw that it was a A24 horror film that you can see in Dolby Cinema, I was like, I should probably go see this in the theater. So, yeah. Other than that, work's been busy. Yada yada yada. I'm gonna pass it off to Dom, because it's been a while since he's been on the show too. I've been on here and everything. I got to share my updates since I've been absent. But Dom, go ahead.
Yeah, I am back from a 2-week stint in the Philippines, and I can't wait to tell you gentlemen more about it in detail at some point. But effectively, I've adjusted my clock. I'm slowly getting back into the Chicago time, and I am ready to go, because I saw Bullet Train on my flight.
Oh,
and
fun.
It's a Japanese airline. Amongst other things, I think I saw F1 in another person's flight thing,
Yeah.
on the back of the chair.
Yeah. Their screen.
And I only say that because I had seen F1 already before, so I knew how the movie went. But I'm like, fuck, man, this is a good movie. It's a really good movie.
Oh, it is.
My toxic trait is that F1. I don't mind F1 being nominated for Best Picture. Obviously, I don't think it should win, but I don't care. I'm like, you know what? Vibes. We're good.
Absolutely not. That's actually probably a good way to start. Glad you're back safe, too. That's probably a good way to start, too, because I'll say this. When F1 got nominated, it felt like the big surprise. That and Train Dreams felt like the big surprise for Best Picture, because I thought Netflix was going to push Jay Kelly with Adam Sandler. But they didn't. They pushed Jay Kelly didn't get a damn thing. Like they pushed Train Dreams. F1 too. It was so funny because I feel like it caught everybody by surprise, but it's like Man, of course it got nominated, and it absolutely deserves to get nominated. Now, I'm going to say this, if it was like it was 10, 15 years ago, or actually 15 years ago, when it was only 5 movies and not 10, then I would probably say, there's 5 here I could whittle this list down to before F1.
Yeah.
But in a field of 10, absolutely. It was probably the best blockbuster of last year. I don't think it's as good as Mad Max Fury Road or Top Gun Maverick, but that's like, you know what I mean? That's a tier that is seldom reached. And Kaczynski's great. I think Kaczynski's probably the best director who's not a household name for how much money his movies have made. I'm for F1 getting a nomination. I'm glad it even won, too, for sound.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
remember telling people, yeah, no, that meow you hear a million times in that movie. Yeah, it works. It works on the human brain. It's very effective.
does.
That's why people love NASCAR.
I'm going fast is when every time I heard it in the theater, I'm like, I'm going fast. Here we go. I'm leaning into my chair.
Just a great time at the movies. Nothing wrong with it. You know,
Yeah.
like I said, I look back at some of my older reviews and how negative I was on some blockbusters that I actually wound up liking on second watch. And I think of the Bob Dylan line. I was so much older then. I'm younger than that now. You know,
I looked at that nomination the same way I looked at the Top Gun Maverick nomination, where I was just kind of like, no, I mean, it was a very good blockbuster that should be recognized, because on a technical scale, it went above and beyond. And like, it's just like no one expected Top Gun Maverick to be that good of a movie, let alone like that much of a spectacle too. So like when I saw F1 and it's the same director and he basically brought the same team over with him, I was just like, yeah, I expect it. Like you guys said, there's this many nominations. Yeah, why not throw a bone to the F1 movie when it was like that was the blockbuster of the year, and as a technical marvel, it really should be recognized for that.
Nobody asked, but I will tell you anyway. I got 20 of the 20.
I thought you were saying that to me.
Yeah,
I was like, God damn.
No. I did ask that. Nobody asked about my ballot, but I got 20 out of 24. Who's bragging? Record year for me, like Eric Church.
That's like something I look forward to every year. It's like, man, how did Steve do?
20 out of 24. Yeah, I was totally playing that though on that.
I meant to send you a meme. It's a meme of 2 girls. It's Emma Watson whispering to another girl, and it says, I heard that he almost got all of his ballot predictions correct. And they're like gasping.
Oh, I know. It's one of the most selfish things. Like with this, had a fucking tie this year, but I picked one of the winners that won. I picked for the live action short film. I admittedly didn't watch any of them. I went with the one with the most unique title and 2 people exchanging saliva. And that wound up being one of the 2 Oscars for that. But yeah, the Oscars were Sunday. Quick recap of the big categories, the ones that most people are like, that really want to know. Actor in a leading role. Best actor went to Michael B. Jordan for Sinners. Best actor in a supporting role went to Sean Penn for One Battle After Another. That was very chalky, but it did seem like the potential for Delroy Lindo to upset there at the end. I thought that could have been a potential upset. Jessie Buckley wins Best Actress for her role in Hamnet. Best Supporting Actress. This was probably the most tightly contested category because all three of the 5 nominees, Tiana Taylor from One Battle After Another, Wumi Mosaku from Sinners, and Amy Madigan from Weapons, all respectively won awards for different critic circles, depending on what it was. BAFTA, I think went to Tiana. So it was a tough call between the 3. I checked the best odds 2 days before the awards was Tiana Taylor. I went Amy Madigan and proved prophetic on that. Amy Madigan for Weapons. And then for Best Director, you had Paul Thomas Anderson, One Battle After Another, and One Battle After Another is your Best Picture for the 98th Academy Awards. It was really, from the jump, it was between that and Sinners.
Yeah.
It was a 2-horse race to the point. I think I even said in my predictions, I don't know what a final third would be, and my guess would have been Hamnet. For a distant third. This was like if you follow the NFL, was like Matthew Stafford, Drake May MVP level close.
Yeah.
Like I feel like. But general reaction to these winners, I'll just be brief with mine before I pass it over to you, Joe, to start us off. I'll say, man, me and Catherine cheered loud for Amy Madigan. Chicago native, Marquette graduate, now gives one of the very few horror or performances in a horror movie to win an Oscar. This is, you see a lot of talk about this online. A lot of people like cheering for it. And it's not just Amy Madigan as a person who, along with her husband Ed Harris, seem like lovely people, but it's the way horror was celebrated and honored at the Oscars this year. It's not everything. It doesn't mean everything, but it means something. It validates what we've been saying, the three of us and a lot of others, that this is a renaissance period for horror, going back to, I would say, about 2018-ish, somewhere around there. I kind of think of the dawn of this era like Hereditary, is kind of where I think, that's kind of where my mind just places the era, is Hereditary in 2018. That, I guess you could argue, the year before Get Out even too. But it has been a phenomenal stretch for the last 10 years of horror. And to see Amy Madigan recognized in that movie, Zach Kreger, his second film, pivoting from comedy to horror, having immense success, just fucking great. Like, just a wonderful story. I said Amy Madigan was going to win, or I picked her to win. My main thing, because that was the category I fussed over for a minute, my take with Amy Madigan was, not only do I think selfishly of the ones I've seen, it's the most memorable performance, it will be the most enduring performance, even with respect to Masaku. I think that she is factually a generation older than all of her nominees. And that weighs a lot with the Academy. When you have somebody in there, I think she's in her 60s. Like, when you have somebody in her 60s up against the new generation, it weighs heavily on the Academy, and that's why I went with Madigan. Very happy she won. That was my winner of the night.
Yeah.
Your scorecard, real quick, it's always descriptive. It's not necessarily what you think should win, but rather what you think is going to.
Yes, what I think is going to win. What I think will win. Yep.
Mm.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off of that one. That was probably either my favorite or second favorite win of the night. Mostly because, like, yeah, I looked at it as this was finally the year where I felt like horror movies really did get recognized at the Academy. And while Sinners, like, you know, it has horror elements to it, but I wouldn't say it's a full out horror movie. There are, you know, parts of the movie are horror. The second half of the movie becomes more of a horror film compared to the first half. But there's you know, one of the praises that I gave Sinners is that I feel like it's a movie that balances so many different genres all at once, that like anybody can go into the movie, whether you're a horror fan, a drama fan, period piece fan, a musical fan too. There's something there for everybody in Sinners, and it all manages to balance it so well. But Weapons is straight up a horror movie. Like, there's no debate about that. Like, it straight up is horror. It is a creepy movie to watch. There are so many scenes in that movie that make me uneasy throughout it, and it just makes me so excited to see what he's going to be doing with Resident Evil, Zach Kreger, that is, especially after playing the most recent game that came out. The other big win, also going for an actor actress category, it was Michael B. Jordan in a leading role. Like all of you guys, I saw this kid when he was super young. I saw him on The Wire. I saw him in Chronicle. And ever since then, I always said, dude, this kid is so damn good at acting. I'm like, anytime I see him pop up in anything, Friday Night Lights, I'm just like, this kid's going to...
I found that out recently. He was on an episode of The Sopranos.
Yeah, like HBO, I guess, like while they were making The Wire, like they just were like, hey, we're also filming The Sopranos nearby. Can we have you just like be a stand-in for that as well? It's so crazy to see the career of Michael B. Jordan finally pay off this early into his career too, where he finally got his Oscar award. I mean, like, you know, the kid, like for me, like Fruitvale Station was the movie I said, yeah, this kid's gonna be an Oscar winner someday. And then I saw Black Panther, and I even said, Ryan Coogler might be an Oscar-winning director. No, Creed. Creed is what did it. Black Panther is what solidified it, because it started getting nominated, and I just went, all right, if he got a Marvel movie nominated this many times, this guy just needs to do something on his own, and he'll get the win. Long and behold, he got the win by writing his own screenplay. I know some people were tossing up between who would get the direction, whether it was going to be him or PTA. I was either or with those two. Both those movies were my number one and number two, so it didn't matter to me. I thought both directors did such a good job. For me, if I had to pick one, even though One Battle After Another is my favorite movie from last year, I gotta admit, I thought Sinners, in terms of directing and how much you had to balance and everything, I think that should get more of a, like, hey, we're gonna give you the award because you balanced so many plates and not a single one really crashed. They all maintained a fair balance with one another and everything. But yeah, that was probably my favorite one, honestly. The longer I think about it, Michael B. Jordan winning Best Actor, it's probably my favorite because it's just seeing somebody that I have been seeing since I started really getting into movies and TVs and like, in the way that I am talking about them nowadays here on Sleepless. And it's just like, damn, man, I really want to see that kid do something. It's the same way how when I see, and going into another football term, it's the same way when I see Caleb do something on the Bears. It's like, dude, I've seen this kid at USC. I saw this kid when he was the backup. And he stepped in and led his team back to victory. And it was like, that is going to be a future like Hall of Famer QB. And we got him on the Bears. And I looked at Michael B. Jordan the same way. That is going to be a future like Oscar winner. And he got one this early in his career. The kid is bound to get another at some point. Same as like Emma Stone has gotten to, and so many other like, young actors, young actresses who they get nominated and sometimes they don't win it until they get older, or they win it when they're younger and then that's it. From there on out, that's the only win. No, Michael B. Jordan, I look at the same way as I look at Emma Stone. They might be a 3-time winning, Oscar-winning actor or actress because they have so much range, and every time I see them in a movie, they give me something different almost every time. And I can't wait to see what the kid's going to do next.
Don't forget.
Hey, it's not a coincidence those two sat next to each other. I'm telling you right now.
It's true. Real quick before I let you go, Dom. Again, I think for the next year, he's Michael Jordan. I think for the next year, we can drop the B. He's Michael Jordan, period. Mm-hmm. Let all due respect to Michael J. Jordan. But anyway, the thing is with Michael B. Jordan, too, and it's easy to forget because it was a sequel, and people were kind of mixed on it, but he's a director. His next project I wanted to look to confirm is the Thomas Crown Affair, which he's starring in and directing. So that comes out in 2027. I'm just saying, like, there is a lot of wiggle room for him. And I'm with you too, Joe. Like I said, real quick too, my mother used to tell me growing up, she used to say that, like, when I got to high school, college, she was like, I've been doing what I do for so long. Like, I've kind of, hit the apex of what I can do with my career as a nurse. So when you do something, she's like, it gives me more pride than when I accomplish something. Catherine and I are not having children. So this is the closest thing I come to with that feeling. Like, if it's not me or her of having pride for something external, is like, oh, we were cheering. I'm like, that's my boy from Fruitvale, from the pit to the palace. Like, oh man, it was electrifying for Michael B. Jordan. I'm so happy for him.
I just want to say that I just looked up the Thomas Crown Affair. I've not seen the original. Apparently it's a remake. Thomas Crown is a billionaire who steals a painting. Followed by an insurance investigator, the two fall in love during the cat and mouse game. That's according to the Wikipedia premise. And I'm like, yeah, sure, just do a victory lap. You play a billionaire and you fall in love with a hot woman who's chasing you. Yeah, sure.
You
get to pick and choose your projects at this point, right?
Your reaction to the Oscars, Dom, what do you want to dig into of the big awards?
So I want to say that I caught the Oscars not on a straightforward telecast, but on and off various sites and ways and means. And then later on went back and watched all the YouTube acceptance speeches and bits on various other platforms. So, but I feel like I watched it and I got the list right here. I just shout out Wikipedia. Excellent recap spot for the Oscars. They have a beautiful table, and it's just laid out very neatly there. But for me, I think you honestly, gentlemen, said, and you have watched more than me. Almost always you watch more than me in terms of the Oscars nominees. But just want to give a shout out to, we never talk, and this is mostly my fault, honestly, because I'm supposed to be the music guy. We never talk enough about score. And Ludwig Göransson, which is a name I'm probably butchering and shouldn't, he's 3 for 3 on noms and wins.
Yeah.
Like this dude is turning into he already is a generational talent.
I'm already saying he's better than Hans. Like, so many people like praise Hans Zimmer, but like I feel like Ludwig's running circles around him right now.
Yeah.
Oh, right now, I would agree. I would agree. Best argued for best composer in cinema, right alongside like Trent Reznor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's honestly incredible. And like the dude, like he first came to my attention with the Mandalorian soundtrack. He did the theme song to the Mandalorian. And it's like, damn, this is great. And then he just kept popping the hell up. And now he's got a third Oscar on his third nom. And he's been a hot commodity, and he's going to continue to be. And dude he's also an OG because he got his start with Ryan Coogler after Coogler, it was his first gig, I think, right? So, or more or less his first like big Hollywood gig. So it's like, this is great. He's just burning bright out there in the atmosphere right now, and can't wait to see. It's going to burn for a while. It's going to burn for a while, surely. So just want to give the flowers there. What did we think about, let's get a little spicy here. What did we think about the best song situation where only 2 of the 5 nominees got to sing their song? How did we feel about that?
A little strange, a little different.
It is strange, right?
Little strange. I mentioned that. I mentioned that to Catherine like 2 hours in. I'm like, we're 2 hours in, and they've only performed one song. Like it's very strange. It's a part of the show that I always enjoy. I was kind of pissed too because I was like, damn it, I was kind of looking forward to Train Dreams.
Yeah.
Like I was looking forward to hearing that live. Like, and yeah, it's a strange omission. And when we talk, I mean, if we want to segue, I don't want to spend too much time criticizing it because I feel like the Oscars, now granted, I think it's bigger in terms of societal impact, but it's like nowadays, like you don't hear the same about I don't see the Golden Globes criticized. I don't see the Emmys criticized. I don't see like anything else criticized. It's like the 2 things that people criticize the most in like entertainment media is the NBA and the Oscars. Like it's all bitching and moaning, and so I don't want to feed that machine too much, and I don't think, quite frankly, there's a lot to complain about with this year's ceremony. That's one of the issues, and I think Joe and I at least are going to have the same complaint because Catherine and I even talked about this the other night at length. Like the biggest problem with this year's ceremony was and it was more noticeable this year.
The women, no.
Unfortunately, I'm going to sound like that when I bring up my criticism.
No, I know. It was the bits.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the fact that the bits, I can forgive the bits when they're not funny, but when Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans can go 3 minutes on a thing about Channing Tatum's thong from Magic Mike, and when the cast of Bridesmaids, all due respect, it was cool to see them together, when they can go 5 minutes reading fake notes that they were passed from other nominees, and then you cut off the fucking trio behind K-pop Demon Hunters, and you basically rush the winners of other categories off the stage before everybody gets a crack at the mic. That's ludicrous.
Yeah.
That's absolutely ludicrous. Like, you got a flock of people coming up there for most of these awards. There's 2, 3, sometimes 4 people. Give them all at least 60 seconds on the mic. I don't care. This is the biggest moment of their professional career. That was the most inexcusable thing with the Oscars this year.
Technically... Oh, go ahead. Sorry, just question. Is that technically on Conan? Because he is the host, so does he have, like, say over...
No. I think that's more on the Academy because the Academy does write out like, okay, we're going to have these presenters, and they purposely pair them together because
there is a director. There is like a director for the show.
Yeah. Like Conan's responsible, of course, like for his opening monologue and whatever else he wants to do. And in terms of I'm sorry, Dom, do you have anything else you want to add to that?
No, that was it. That was it. Yeah.
in terms of like pros that I would give this year's Oscars, I think Conan's great, man. 2 years now
agree.
back to back. I think he's great at his job.
He's got just the right amount of edge that the Academy can tolerate and where he's funny. And he is very likable. Like somebody like Seth MacFarlane scares the Academy now after what happened. Jimmy Kimmel's to Milquetoast. He is great.
Yeah.
He can have the lifetime contract to host.
Even the opening sequence where they parody weapons and he shows up in all the other best pictures, it's like that was fun. The closing like stinger of the Academy where he's the host for life, that was done great. All of his quips, and anytime he came on stage, I was having a great time. Where the show started to drag for me, is moments where it's like, hey, Avengers Doomsday is coming out, so let's have Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. on stage together. Hey, The Mandalorian and Grogu are coming out, so let's have Sigourney Weaver and Pedro Pascal on stage together. Hey, it's the 15th anniversary of Bridesmaids, a movie we didn't acknowledge at the Academy. Let's throw them on stage together. And it's just like, these people, they get on stage, and it's like, I don't know if they allow them the carte blanche because of who they are to have like free reign on what they want to do for that category. But it goes on way too long, man. I love it when like the people who are out there to present something just get it done and out of the way. Hell, Javier Bardem took a political stance on stage, and he got that shit in and out, presented the award, and got the hell off stage in less than 2 minutes. It's like, why can't everybody do that? Why does everybody got to have like their own SNL sketch on stage? It's just like, that to me is what's dragging out these award ceremonies. It wasn't the fact that you guys were performing the songs. The songs actually related to the show in a major way. They're the songs that are nominated.
Cool with that.
And honestly,
it was truncated too, right? Golden, they only did like one verse, or
verse and a half.
Yeah. I mean, how much fun did you guys have like watching like Billie Eilish go on stage, perform her song from Barbie, and like how like that stage was presented, and then 2 songs later, it's I'm Just Ken, and the theater is just going crazy and everything. It's
a win-win.
It's a win-win.
It's a draw because remember throughout the show last year and even before the show, they were hyping up the I'm Just Ken moment, which is like, of course you do that. That's great. It's a great song.
It's a memorable
Ryan
moment.
Gosling
It's more
is a
memorable than any
generational
bit.
talent.
It's more memorable than any bit.
Yeah.
The bits, quite frankly, that I find the best. You know who I still remember 3 days later from the event, who I laughed at, and it was simple, was Kumail Nanjiani. Kumail Nanjiani was funny about like shortening film, like every movie should be a short film, and he's like, one battle, you get one. Call me by your nickname.
See, it's like, but those guys, that guy was a comedian. Kumail Nanjiani was. Yeah. It's like, if you're a comedian, you should be getting carte blanche to do something on stage because you probably know how to get in and get out with a joke.
Stand-up comedian specifically.
Yeah, stand-up comedian.
Whereas
just because you're not Will Ferrell.
Sketch comedians, and we're not saying one is superior than the other, but for this format, it works better. Yeah. Because in a sketch, you have to build up a whole thing. Yeah,
and that's what the bridesmaid thing was, and it went on forever to where they made a joke about them acknowledging how long it was going on for, and it's like, oh man, like to me, the worst joke you can make at any of these award ceremonies is that joke. I don't care who does it. It could be me up there. The minute I do that joke, I'm like pulling out a prop gun and going bang to my head. Like, oh no, I did it.
No, you're totally correct though. And Kumail Nanjiani, it just happened this way that he was presenting live action short film in the category tied. I love when he goes and the Oscar goes to, and I love that it was him in the situation. And he's like, it's a tie. It's a tie. I'm not even joking. It's a tie. So I'm going to read one, and then I will read the second one. And then I like when he gets back to the mic. How ironic is it that the short film category takes twice as long and the second Oscar goes to?
See, a guy, a comedian like that who does stand up, like Dom is saying, can think on his feet and actually make something out of a scenario like that.
That's a dude, you know what? All praise and respect to Conan. I think he's a consummate professional. Kumail is a guy I'd like to see host.
I'd be down for
frankly,
that.
That would be, yeah.
I love Nanjiani. I love the Big Sick. I think he's funny. I think he's natural. I'd like to see him host. I don't think it would be too big for him. But yeah, like, and the one other thing before we head to break here real quick, One correction on your part, though, Joe. It's forgivable to forget this. Bridesmaids was nominated for Melissa McCarthy was nominated for Best Supporting Actress, and it was nominated for Best Original Screenplay. Yep.
Oh wow! All right.
I was reminded of that when it came on, or when they came on. I'm like, I forgot the screenplay nod, but I was like, yeah, Melissa was nominated for that.
Yeah,
and
Joe,
here's the thing. Here's the thing too. I just wrote it off as it didn't get nominated because I knew the Academy kind of stuck up their nose towards comedies like that.
Oh,
so
it's totally fair.
I'm actually surprised it did, and actually glad it did because movies like that and Girls Trip were like, the two movies I was like, hey, like, throw some leeway to like these women-made films that are doing comedies like this.
After Barbie, they got their shit together.
Yeah, no.
I'm just doing a quick mental scan here. I think it's the only movie Apatow ever produced to get an Oscar nomination.
Oh, wow.
So it's forgivable to forget that, but I think that's a good trivia question. What Judd Apatow produced, because he's not a director, really.
Yeah, it's Paul Feig, right? That directed that?
Paul Feig,
sorry.
yeah, who did it. No, yeah, you're good. But yeah, no, I think we're all in agreement about that. I don't want to make this a bitch fest because I don't really think there's really a need to make it a bitch fest.
No, that's the big complaint I have. It's a bad complaint, but like, yeah.
It's a significant complaint. Now, as we head into intermission real quick, when we come back here in a couple of minutes, I will say, though, when we will come back, man, it took 98 years, but damn it, did they not find the perfect format for In Memoriam. Did they not find a perfect moving format for In Memoriam? And this year was challenging because there was many Titans lost all across the board. This year, actually 2025 and into early this year. We'll touch on that coming back here on Sleepless with Steve. We're recapping the 98th Academy Awards. I'm loving this show. This top 5 Sleepless show of the year. Always great to do this one. We'll be back here in just a couple of minutes. Don't go anywhere. It's Sleepless with Steve live on YouTube.
The movie is called We're All Going to the World's Fair. It is now on HBO Max. It's made and featuring a lot of people you probably haven't heard of. The one name, I guess Michael J. Rogers. He's been in a lot of different stuff. He was in Mortal Kombat, the TV series. He's also in Hellraiser Hellseeker. I kind of vaguely remember him in Hellraiser Hellseeker now that I think about it. Even though it was years ago and he did look different. I think I can picture who he is, though. Anyway, the one name that caught my eye on this, David Lowery is a producer on this. David Lowery has made some of the most exceptional movies of the last decade, including A Ghost Story. He made that. He made The Green Knight. He made Pete's Dragon. David Lowery is one of my favorite directors working today. Yeah. So, and like I said, he's just a producer, but he's so damn good. The director of this is Jane Schoenbrunn. They're the one who directed and wrote the movie as well. But this is a strange movie to summarize. I'm going to do my best here because it's 86 minutes long, occasionally feels longer. But it premiered at Sundance, and I remember it premiering at Sundance. I think it conflicted with Cha-Cha Real Smooth, which is why I didn't watch it. But I remember seeing the name of it and like being attracted to the title alone. And then that poster that'll be ingrained in your retina after you look at it. But the movie revolves around a lonely teenage girl. Her name is Casey. She's played by Anna Cobb in her first movie role. And the opening of the movie is her doing this World's Fair challenge, one of these internet challenges where you say, I want to go to the World's Fair 3 times. Correct me if I'm wrong. You say, I want to go to the World's Fair 3 times. Then you prick your finger repeatedly, and then you smear blood on your computer. Did I hit all the bases?
And you watch a seizure-inducing flashing light video.
That's what it is. You watch this blinking. God, this thing needed to come with an epilepsy warning, too. Like, thank God I don't have seizures because this thing needs to come. That's just one firm trigger warning I believe in is like the flashing light strobe effect thing. Like they need to advertise that, I think, even more than they do. And it's for this thing especially because this thing gets bad at a couple of times. But anyway, so yeah, she does this internet challenge and the whole movie then essentially follows her. This is a girl who has no social interaction, not very little social interaction. I mean, none. Socially inept. She's got to be what, 12, 13? She's got to be somewhere around that age. And she lives her entire life on her phone or on the computer. And the scary part is that, especially in the I don't want to say post-COVID because that's nebulous, but in the pandemic era, I think this is frighteningly common. Maybe not to the dramatic extent, but the isolation factor, I think, absolutely. But the movie follows her because after you do this World's Fair challenge, it's common for people to post videos on the internet of like their body changing in very weird ways. I don't want to spoil it, but there's a guy and it involves Tetris. And it's so bizarre. And it's so damn bizarre. And you're sitting there like, I think it was at that point I was like, what the fuck did I make these guys watch? If I didn't know this was this weird, I'd have saved it for StevePulaski.com. I mean, but anyway, there's only really 2 actors in the movie. It's
Back and better than ever, Sleepless with Steve. After our Zoom-sponsored intermission, we are talking the Oscars. We just got over our basically mutual complaint of the fact that one of our only complaints, frankly, is just the elongation of the bits and everything like that, and then cutting winners off. I find that very distasteful.
Yeah.
It's different. It is different if it's one person accepting an award and they're going long. That's one thing. But when you have 3 or 4 people that bum rush the mic and are like walking up to there, like in an utter shock trying to get their words straight, give them some time. Christ's sake. This is the one day a year some people hear the word cinematography. You know what I mean? Before talking about the In Memoriam, I don't want to forget to make this point, because Catherine and I were touching on this together too. And it didn't dawn on me till the next day, really, when I was kind of like just recalibrating my thoughts on everything. You know what was awesome too, I will say, about this year's awards? That opening bit, the weapons bit, was phenomenal. Like, more evidence, because that whole thing was framed around the weapons bit. More evidence the damn movie should have got Best Picture nomination.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I was like, there's a lot of love going towards weapons, and I'm like, I'm surprised that didn't get a nod.
I know. Like, if I'm Kreger, I'm like partially irked. I'm happy for Amy Madigan, but I'm like, you built the fucking, jewel bit of this thing around the movie and you didn't nominate it, and there's 10 slots.
All right, F1, you can leave now. Hold on. Now I want you back. I've switched camps now.
Or at least original. I mean, original screenplay is a tight category. I'm happy Blue Moon. Blue Moon, if I would have seen it last year, Blue Moon would have been one of my top 5. I love Blue Moons, but I could argue it for weapons for best original screenplay too. Be that as it may, real quick, you know what I loved? Like the weapons bit and the one battle after another bit at the end. Think about it. They spoiled the hell out of both of those movies.
Yeah.
They spoiled the hell out of both of those movies, and nobody complained. You know why? Because they catered to the people that watch the movies.
Exactly, yeah.
They cater to the people who watch the movies. They didn't give a shit about spoiling two pivotal scenes in the movie because they assume rightly that the majority of the 17 million people that tuned in to watch Sunday night had seen most of these movies. So that was a sneaky, subtle thing. And we've said it for years on this show. Stop catering to people who don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same thing what the NBA should do. Stop catering to people who don't give a shit and are going to bash it either way.
Yeah.
I wanted to make that point clear. I don't want to talk super long, though, after just talking for ad nauseum, too. But what did we think of the In Memoriam? I'll start with you, Dom.
I thought it was lovely. And in turn, like, as they were going by, I'm like, damn, we did lose a lot of good people this year, and some to tragedy. Even the Rob Reiner, specifically Billy Crystal, his monologue. It's just sad, and you feel the difference. Obviously, there's a difference, but you absolutely feel it between some of them. Even if Conan's doing a serious line, it's nothing compared to an In Memoriam tribute from a legend like Crystal. An even bigger legend, right? Where it just you feel the gravitas of it all in that moment. Even though we're all expecting shit like that, even though it's all, in some ways zhuzhed up and scripted, of course. But even then, it was handled very, very well. And specifically talking about the way it was broken up, right?
Yeah, where they had like Billy Crystal and like Rachel McAdams coming out. You talking about like that?
Yeah. I very much appreciated that, because there's always been a tacit like, some people you're gonna know more than others, right?
Yeah.
Like Robert Duvall, yes, producer lady that only maybe 500 people in the in the Hollywood would probably really know. I don't know.
They're worth being honored, but they do doubles for a reason. For like
Yes.
agents, sound mixers. It's the
Mhm.
way it is. It's the
Yeah.
way it is. They still get placement on
It's
there.
hey, it's better to be recognized on something like that than not to be recognized. Like, and there's some big name actors out there who don't get recognized. So you can only imagine that there probably is a sound editor out there that probably didn't get recognized. But it's still nice for them to. It's still nice to see like they are getting a moment on screen. Yeah, of course, someone like Diane Keaton is gonna get more of a spotlight than Joe Schmo over here who just, was in the editing bay day in, day out. It sucks to say that because Joe Schmo probably didn't see his family as much because of that. But at the end of the day, it's what people are going to remember, like, oh my God, like Dan Keaton passed away. And that's going to affect people way more because, hey, she was an actress. She stood for some stuff as well. People have a lot of memories of her being on the screen, interviews, whatever it may be.
She was nominated.
Yeah.
She was in an Oscar-winning movie, Annie Hall.
Yeah.
Like, that won Best Picture, famously over Star Wars. Like, there were a few.
Godfather, yeah.
And Godfather too, obviously.
We lost two Godfather actors, Duvall
did.
and Keaton.
We did. Couple of missions though that I'm curious. I found too. Catherine noted too that James Vanderbeek wasn't on there. He was more of a television actor, but still, like I feel like some of these are nebulous. I forgot Lonnie Anderson from WKRP in Cincinnati. She wasn't recognized. And the most shocking one, I don't know if you guys know this movie. The most shocking one to me is Bud Cort. Bud Cort was in Harold and Maude. Back, and he was in The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. He was also, I think he wasn't God. He was an angel in Dogma too, in Kevin Smith's movie. I liked Bud Cort a lot, Harold and Maude. He just died a couple of months ago, and Malcolm
Coyote
Jamal-
Ugly. No.
Yeah, no, Bud Cort. I was surprised because Harold and Maude's one of the most acclaimed movies of the early '70s.
Yeah.
So I was surprised by that omission. But no, it was a phenomenal. Remembrance.
It was so because like last year I think the big one was Morgan Freeman coming out and he was like, I lost my friend. Oh my God,
Gene Hackman.
Gene Hackman, and he came out and it was like they kind of looked at it and said, what if we do that and we space them out like that as well? It's much better than like what they did that one year. I can't remember which year it was, but they had people dancing on stage during the in memoriam.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It became distracting. Like what the hell are we focusing on here? Like either the screen or this?
That was a couple. I think that might have been the year Coda won. That was awful.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about that actually this weekend before the show. Because like the problem with that, and there's a reason they scrapped that, is that here's the thing: 99.98% of the people watching this are not in the fucking room. You can't do a background foreground when the background is the screen.
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing if you're in the audience, you can see clearly with your line of sight the screen. It made for a horrific uncommonly bad for all the Oscars. Like the Oscars is always, even in its messiest or crappiest moments, is a well-directed thing. It really is.
Yeah.
That was an incredibly poor decision, shockingly poor by some of the biggest industry professionals to let that go on like it did. That's one of the lowlights of the last like 20 years of the Oscars, right up there with the fucking slap. Like, the Oscars has had some memorable lowlights too.
Yeah.
But yeah, the In Memoriam I thought was terrific. The other thing I will say too, and they didn't talk as long as I thought they would, but they did make their point. And normally I don't talk the short films because I haven't seen them. I did watch this one, though, All the Empty Rooms, which ended up winning for Best Short Film, documentary short film. I liked what Conan added, too. Conan said documentary short film, or as I call them, Lil Sads. I saw Did you see that? Yeah. How did it make you feel? Little sad. This one had some brutal topics, like Armed Only with a Camera was about the death of a war journalist. The Devil is Busy is like 72 hours in an abortion clinic in Atlanta.
Oh, Jesus.
Like
Wait, no, I remember that one. I almost actually went to go see it because oh god, what was it? It was playing at one of my AMC theaters. They did like the best picture, like not the best picture, but they did the best
Shorts.
short film. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I kind of want to go see that. And like, I remember one of the things that they were focusing on was that one. Like, oh, you can see these short films. And I read the description of one. I'm like, holy shit.
All the Empty Rooms is on Netflix. It's 40 minutes. It's not what you want to watch, but it's probably what you need to watch. It's if you don't know it or you didn't gauge it during the show, it's about a former photojournalist. I guess he still is a photojournalist, but he used to work for like CBS. But he now has spent like the last several years of his life like contacting the families of children who were killed in school shootings to document their bedrooms, their untouched
my
bedrooms. And it is like frozen in time shit. Like it is rough. Like he focuses on like 3 families. It could have been a feature. It really could have been. But it is sobering. Like
Dude,
there's one family from the Uvalde shooting, which was several years ago. Like it's a rough one. Like it's a rough one. But it was a clear-cut winner. It was a clear-cut winner, and I'm glad, though, and I've mentioned this in recent years, I'm really glad that these shorts now have gotten more accessible on streaming services.
Yeah.
I remember used to having, because they didn't show them in theaters as much, you used to be able through Shorts HD rent them online on like Amazon for like $7.99. I used to do that back in the day. They used to be a bitch to watch.
I think it's really cool that theater chains like Marcus Theaters and AMC now have also taken up on, hey, we should probably show these on the big screen. And what they do is it's basically like like a couple showtimes, but they throw them all together in one bundle. So you're there and you're watching like a 40-minute short film, a 30-minute short film, but it'll be 3 hours, 3.5 hours, whatever it may be, but you get to see all of them in one go. And it's like, hey, you basically pay $10 to watch a bunch of different movies. Yeah, they're shorter versions of, a feature-length film, but I think it's well worth it, honestly. If you're really interested
it's probably over 3 hours in length, too, in totality.
Hey, man, look, people are going to sit on the couch and watch, not How to Get Away with Murder, but like, it's those like Murder ID channel documentaries, and those like they'll binge episode after episode. Why not go to a theater and experience theatrical documentaries, and you get to experience 5 of them in one sitting?
Oh, I agree. I agree. They're still not as accessible as I think they could or should be, but I'm glad that they are, because coming from like the 2010s when I was renting them on Amazon, and then you only had like 48 hours, and sometimes it was 3.5 hours long.
Yeah.
So it was like, and let me tell you though, it's not just this year. All these fucking shorts are sad. Like there's always like a Middle Eastern one or something. There's always like I remember there was a great one. It was Saving Face. It was about it followed like Iranian women victim of acid attacks.
Yeah.
Like on the hands of their husband. Like that was another one. Like you could tell, like the ones that stay with you. It's like it's only like 30 minutes, and it's like fuck. I'll never forget that. Like just watching that and exposed to a life you do not know. But no, I'm a fan. I will say this was a year too where I noticed that like most of the winners I was really on board with. Nothing mortally offended me.
This is not a critique, because it's like I kind of saw this coming. There wasn't a surprise for me this year. I know you said that as like a topic that like we can cover, and Dom, I don't know if you felt this way as well, but everything that won, I was like, no, I kind of predicted that. Yeah, I saw that coming.
Even Avatar, right?
Yeah.
Which is a movie I didn't see and I don't give a shit about anymore, right? That whole franchise, I'm good. Even that, I'm like, yeah, sure, of course that was best visual effects. I can't knock it. I'm with it.
I saw Avatar. Catherine's not a big fan. I saw it by myself. And it was so funny because I was pretty mixed on it, firmly mixed on it. And I told Catherine, we're watching the Oscars, I said when they were doing visual effects, I said, you want to know what you need to know about Avatar? This is the first Avatar movie not to get a Best Picture nomination, and there's 10 slots. Like that tells you right there.
Yeah.
Like it's always going to get visual effects, and it should. But I said that's all you need to know. It didn't even crack a 10 window Best Picture nomination. Nor should it have.
The better blockbuster of the year got it. I'm glad it was F1, because I felt the same way about Avatar 3, where it's like it's okay. but visually, it's awesome.
We'll end with Best Picture here in a moment. I want to mention this though because I think one of the shocks for some people, and it was trending this way the last couple of weeks. And this is why I stopped doing my predictions so early. I do my predictions the week of now. I've done that like that for the last 4 years or so because of the way odds and markets change and buzz changes. If I would have made these predictions upon announcement or like 2 weeks after the announcement, I would have had Chalamet winning Best Actor because that's how it was trending there for a while.
Yeah.
And it just the after a multiple, it's not just buzz, it's also other award shows. Michael B. Jordan's stock started really going up.
Yeah.
And he was starting to get some of the big awards. And Chalamet and Marty Supreme didn't get anything. And we talked about this too, Catherine and I. Like, she liked Marty Supreme more than Uncut Gems. We really liked both. She liked Marty over Uncut Gems, and I said like the thing was, I felt like them nominating Marty Supreme so much was the part of the Academy's acknowledgement that like we fucked up not recognizing Uncut Gems when we really should have. And Marty Supreme's a great film too.
Yeah,
but I give the edge to Uncut. I'm still mad that Uncut Gems didn't get anything because Uncut Gems was like one of those movies where like everything, pretty much everything in Marty Supreme, as great as it was, I felt like I saw in Uncut Gems.
Yeah.
Like I saw the pacing, the structure, the loathsome character. I've seen all that. Like maybe Marty's a little bit more redeemable than Howard Ratner, but not by a whole lot. He's younger at least. But the thing about it though is with Uncut Gems was I said the best part about Uncut Gems, I mean, I saw Reign Over Me, and he has had great movies, but it was the best you've ever seen Adam Sandler. I've seen Timothée Chalamet be great half dozen times now.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't surprise me when he turns in a great performance. Same way Leo doesn't either. I love him. I love the performance, but it doesn't surprise me. That was a fucking tour de force for Adam Sandler. And to see Marty Supreme, like, it's not everything, but it's something. It didn't get anything. You know, there's a little bit of a there's a little bit of like, I don't know if it's like not love for the Safdies or whatever, or like Paul Thomas Anderson kind of acknowledged it too at the when he won for Best Director, was he because he's been nominated a lot and hasn't won for like Licorice Pizza and Boogie Nights, where he said, I love what he said. He said, you make a guy work hard for one of these. Like Scorsese, the most fun fact I have about Scorsese is what movie did he win the Best Directing Oscar for?
Isn't it The Aviator?
No.
Ah, fuck! I thought it was that one.
I think it should.
Was it War Horse?
It's not The Departed, right?
Spielberg did War Horse.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
You're fine. It was The Departed.
Oh fuck! Okay, I always thought The Departed won Best Picture, but he didn't win Best Director.
Yeah, that's the only one, to my knowledge. That's the only one that he won for.
Oh wow!
Like, yeah, that's a fun game to play. The legendary all-time directors in America, they've not won directing Oscars.
Yeah.
Or like they did not
the films
win
that they
the
didn't
movie
win Oscars for.
Well, it's like Leo too. Like when Leo finally won for The Revenant, it was like I
should have got it for Wolf.
He should have got it for Wolf. He should have got it for The Aviator, I thought.
Yeah,
I thought
that too,
The Aviator is one of Marty's most underrated movies.
Yeah.
But she should have got it for The Aviator or Wolf. And I'm like, and that's the thing. It's like, yeah, it's cool he won, but like The Revenant, I wouldn't put The Revenant in his top 10. Like, The Revenant was a good movie.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, it was a good movie. It was a good performance. I remember Tom Hardy in The Revenant more than I do him. Because Tom Hardy, I know everybody remembers the damn bear. I know I'm rambling here, but I always remember one of my favorite lines in like the most recent history of movies is in The Revenant, is when Tom Hardy grabs Will Poulter and says, I've saved your ass not once but twice now, boy. I reckon I ought to be God to you now, boy. Then he aims his gun at his head. God giveth, God taketh away. It's still one of my favorite lines in the last like 20 years of anything I've ever watched. Lastly, though, reaction to Best Picture. We said at the beginning, One Battle or Sinners. Were you pleased to see One Battle win, Joe?
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, it was my number one because even though I felt like Coogler did a better job directing, and I thought like he probably should have got Best Director, One Battle After Another was something that like from beginning to end, and I owe it to and it won for Best Editing. It was something that I was like engaged with the whole time. I felt like there is not a beat in this movie where it's like oh my God, like I'm constantly at the edge of my seat. I'm wondering what's going to happen next. I'm wondering how this is going to play out and everything. Um, and in comparison with Sinners is that I was that way with Sinners throughout most of its runtime. However, I do think I even made note of this. So like after I rewatched it for Halloween, and I was just getting ready for like Oscar season and everything, I just want to get a rememorize myself with the movie and everything. I do feel like once they realize it's vampires and they're outside of the bar and everything, the film kind of slows down a bit, and like it kind of has a few hiccups, and then it has that really cool scene where they dance to the Rocky Road and everything, and I'm like, oh, awesome. And then like, okay, we're waiting in the bar again. They're eating garlic. They're trying to figure out if anybody else is a vampire, and the vampires break in, and the movie picks up again. It's like, all right, like during that moment, it's like when they're just trying to figure stuff out, it feels like it's a few bumps on the road where for me, one battle after another. I mean, you're just breezing through that movie, and I'm like, I don't, yeah, one big chase, and it feels like that. It feels like that in the way that
Sinners simulates a bar crawl effectively.
Yeah. You got the slow down period where like, dude, I need a water. Like,
that's a great comp. That's a great comp.
You know what? Here's the other thing too. I've seen people criticize Sinners saying that when the vampires show up, like they don't like it because it kind of like takes away from how great the characters are and everything. For me, I always said, I feel like that's the point, though. Like, when they show up, they're there to ruin such a good time. And you've been having such a great time with these characters. That is the point of these vampires. It's like, yeah, it's this force of nature coming in and punching down on these people like they've been.
And that just strengthens my I said it when it came out and on this show. I said the homogenization of culture is a big theme in that movie, how I read it. And it strengthens that. Like I like how there's two distinct halves. Literally, Catherine actually put Sinners on after the Oscars, so we had a late night on Sunday.
Oh, nice.
And it's literally the shot of the full moon that changes the entire movie.
Yeah,
it's the shot of the full moon, and then it's dark. And it becomes a vampire movie. Up until that point, it was a period drama.
Yeah.
Like, and it's two distinct. It's a movie split into two distinct halves, and are both equally great.
And for all you people who keep saying, "Oh, they copied from Dusk Till Dawn," Dusk Till Dawn wishes it did it as smooth as this movie did. All right.
Yeah, Sinners is just a rock solid time. I was happy with one battle. I would have personally, of this crop, I would have put Sinners. I could justify one battle, though, second. I could justify it.
Yeah.
You know, absolutely. I wasn't as high on it as you guys or really even the larger critics, but I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. I'm not saying it should have won. I wouldn't have been mad if it would have won. I wish it would have gotten more, I think is more the accurate term. You know what's going to be the movie, aside from The Secret Agent and Sentimental Value, which just by nature of being foreign films are going to be a little bit more marginalized in America, at least. You know what movie I think is going to be like forgotten from this year, and I love
Begonia?
Was Begonia.
Yeah.
Was Begonia. And I think it's probably my second favorite Yorgos after Poor Things. And it's... And it sucks that Plemons didn't get a nomination.
Dude,
because he was good.
Yeah.
He was so fucking good. Like, that was a trip. I think you would like it, Dom. That was a trip of a movie. It's so fun. And I liked how when they introduced it, you know, they always give each of the 10 movies like a clip reel, like a 60-second clip reel. I liked how Yorgos explained it and said, I wanted to do this movie. It's based on a book. He said, I wanted to do this movie because I am fascinated by the realities we create for ourselves. And it loans itself so well to the theme of the movie. And I think the Academy liked it, obviously, because it was nominated, but the Academy was like, yeah, it's Yorgos being weird again. You know what I mean? Like, you know, the Greek broke new boundaries with The Favorite and Poor Things. Like, this was, in their mind, like lesser Yorgos. He hit a home run with me. I love Begonia. Almost made my top 10 too. Anything else we haven't touched on?
No, I just wanted to add though to the conversation, which for the director for picture, which is that for me, I think the linchpin between the fight between One Battle and Sinners is that One Battle, but both talk about, you know, generational, you know, justice and injustice, but for for one battle, I think it was just more prescient to the point where
I agree.
literally, more present, I should say, and more topical. Uh, to the point where best supporting actor Sean Penn is literally a real person in real life. To the point where everyone's waiting for him to join the club. But in terms of where it comes down to, I think PTA said it best in his acceptance speech for Picture, I think, where he said he's been humble. He was humble in every speech he was in.
He was, yeah.
Yeah, hey, everyone remember in 1976, the Best Picture nominees were One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Barry Lyndon, Dog Day Afternoon, Jaws, and Nashville. So it's a totally a year-by-year thing. It's always about the competition.
No, he's right. No, that was a really good statement. I don't like to publicize him a whole lot because I think he's taken on the role as the cantankerous film critic. I think that's even his bio on Twitter is Kyle Smith with the New York Post. But I do read him. At times, and like he's just one of those. He's a New York Post writer. He's negative.
Yeah.
He's negative in the most negative city.
Yeah.
And he quote tweeted Paul. I saw he quote tweeted PTA on that and said a good reminder how much movies suck nowadays.
Of course.
And like of course you take the angle. Like, usually I almost responded to it, but I didn't. I don't get into beefs online, but I almost responded like I get, and this is antithetical, but he sounds like my dad. I was gonna say spoken like somebody who doesn't watch any new movies. Like, because that's what it said. That's the people that don't. Again, it's my dad. The people that don't watch movies love to say how they haven't made good movies like ever, or
Man,
like in the last like 30 years.
It's the same with this show too. My friends who the only movie they saw on here that was nominated was Sinners and F1. Some of them saw Marty, but they were like, "Ah, man, like why the hell are they nominating movies like this?" And I'm like, "You should probably watch those movies and you'll understand why."
Find
like,
out for yourself.
Yeah.
No shit.
Like it's the one thing I hate about when like as much as I'm happy like F1 got nominated and Sinners, that when like a movie that big gets nominated, I'm like, ah shit, here come the casuals now that feel like they are owed this fucking Oscar win because they're like, hey, I saw Sinners, so I know it should win. I don't know what the fuck this train dream it is, but I want that shit out.
The last thing I'll say, and because I feel like I've done a lot of rambling, but I love our Oscar show and I love the camaraderie of us on this particular topic, is that here's a good example. Like, my one group chat this week has been going nuts over the World Baseball Classic, okay?
Yeah.
They've been going nuts over Venezuela and the U.S. and the Italians, and Joe's people whooped our asses and everything. There's not enough Polacks in the sport. But anyway, the thing is, they've been talking constantly about the WBC. I'm not a fan of baseball. You know what I do? I don't chime in. I don't chime in.
Yeah.
I don't use it as a launch pad for why I hate base or why I don't like baseball or why I don't care. I just don't pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Like, the only thing I think I asked was, is Mike Trout on Team USA? Like, because I like Trout. But yeah, like I don't feel the need to jump in on something I don't know or care about. It's like the Emmys and Globes. I don't care about the Emmys and Globes. I have enough mental space for one award show. It's the Oscars. The rest of them can be as they are.
I had a friend who was going crazy, and he doesn't watch movies a lot, but he was losing his mind because Top Gun Maverick lost to Everything Everywhere All at Once. And he's like, look at this fucking movie. He's like, what is that? There's too much going on. Yeah, he's like
everything.
I'm like, that's actually what I told him. Like, yeah, it's in the title. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. But he felt like because of how big like Top Gun Maverick was and how much money it made, that like it should win Best Picture because it was a movie that came out after COVID and brought people back to the theater. And I told him like, hey man, look. Best Picture winners have been movies that maybe like 10 people saw that year, okay? Like that I know in real life.
Nomadland.
What? Yeah, No Man Land, for example. Coda. I genuinely think we're the only 3 people in Chicago that I know that saw that movie.
I know. I said it at the time, too. I said, this is destined to be one of the most forgotten Best Pictures.
Yeah.
Like, it is destined because it's also on Apple TV.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not on DVD. But anyway, I think I think we can wrap up here.
Yeah,
but
I'm
I like the shared sentiment of that too. Of that, like, it also made me think of when we talk good luck, have fun, don't die. I said if this movie sucked, like halfway through, I just thought, like, if this movie sucked, I was gonna say in my review, nothing, nowhere, not even close. Like, yeah. At any rate, though, great to be back. Next week, we're tackling Project Hail Mary, the new Ryan Gosling movie, which. Is it the first blockbuster of the year?
I would say so.
I think so. I think you can call it that.
Of the year, yeah, that feels right.
Because Hoppers is a family movie. Hoppers is an animated movie. I put that in a different class.
The going into that, I didn't hear too much about it.
Yeah, Project Hail Mary, though. Phil Lord, Chris Miller, Ryan Gosling. I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to it. I think this is a good, like, like the Drudge season is a little bit over with the winter movies and stuff like that. So looking forward to chatting with you guys about that. It's great to be back. Glad you got back again safe, Dom. Appreciate you hosting as always, Joe. That mic arm is doing wonders for you too. You've never sounded clearer on this show. So great work there too. We'll be back next week. Project Hail Mary on the docket. Until then, for Joe Viso, Dominic Guanzon, yours truly. This has been Sleepless with Steve.